Hello, welcome back. I'm Statman Dave, and today we're going to be looking at how Brendan Rodgers is building a mini Man City at Leicester City with Coral. Make sure to subscribe if you're new and like that goddamn video. Anyway, let's get this party started. Claude Puel was sacked on the 24th of February 2019 following an uninspiring 16 months in charge. Up until Puel's sacking, Leicester City had played 27 league games and sat in 12th place, with no hope of silverware after being knocked out of the domestic cups by Manchester City and Newport County. 3 days later, Brendan Rodgers was appointed as Leicester City manager and walked away from a treble with Celtic. But since then, Leicester have looked a different team. They've won 6 of their 9 games under Rodgers and would be third had the Premier League started when Rodgers was appointed. Only Liverpool have scored more goals than the Midlands club during that time. But how has Rodgers turned it around? Tactically, Rodgers has largely set Leicester up in a variant of a 4-3-3. He did tinker with a 3-4-2-1 against Watford, but defeat seemed to have ended that experiment for now. Since then, Leicester have lined up in a 4-1-4-1, with 2 3/8s in James Maddison and Youri Tillsman. This system is very similar to Pep Guardiola's Manchester City, with their 2 3/8s in David Silva and Bernardo Silva. In his system, Guardiola aims to stretch the pitch as much as possible by positioning his wingers high and wide and forcing his opponents to choose. Do they leave the wide players unmarked and free to receive passes, or do they mark them and instead leave holes centrally for the 3/8s to get the ball? That's slightly different at Leicester City. The wide players, often Harvey Barnes and Demarai Gray, hold their width excellently, but they often do drop off the ball to get involved in the build-up, interchanging positions with the 3/8s. Rodgers has the beginnings of a very fluid attacking system at Leicester, but the fluidity is bookended with some structure. Jamie Vardy is a lone striker in the system. Interestingly, Rodgers seemed to have calmed Vardy down. Instead of having him lead the press relentlessly, he instructs it, but more on that later on. Offensively, Vardy looks to stretch the pitch vertically, making runs in behind as you would expect, and it's getting a really good tune out of him. In the 9 Premier League games following Puel's sacking, Vardy has scored 10 goals, 2 more than he managed in the 27 games under the Frenchman. In defensive midfield sits Wilfred Ndidi, who is key to offering a solid platform for midfielders to join the attack. Ndidi screens the defence well, often dropping into Leicester's defensive line when they're under pressure, or covering a fullback to relieve an overload, allowing the centre-backs to retain their shape and focusing on their defending in the box. Wilfred Ndidi has won possession more times than any other player in the Premier League this season. Finally, both fullbacks, Ben Chilwell and Ricardo Pereira, are given licence to go forward as long as the other one tucks in to create a back 3. Interestingly, Rodgers' most selected 11 has just 2 changes from Puel's last game in charge. Gazelle makes way for Demarai Gray, and Christian Fuchs was simply filling in for injured Chilwell. Rodgers had quickly and drastically changed the style of Leicester's play, going from an extremely passive side under Puel to a side that looks to dominate possession with the aggressiveness of Leicester's title-winning season. Under Rodgers, Leicester have averaged 56% possession as opposed to 49% they averaged under Puel. It offers a glimmer into Leicester's future under the former Liverpool manager. Brendan Rodgers has not only adopted the tactical system Pep Guardiola uses at Manchester City, but he also took elements of their style of play. There's a clear desire to play out the back from Leicester, and their shape transitions to a 3-2-4-1, with the same side fullback and central midfielder pushing on, whilst the opposite side drops. For example, if Leicester attack down the left central midfielder will push into number 10, the left winger will drift inside, the left back will provide the width, whilst the right midfielder would partner the DM in the base, and the right back will tuck in to create a back 3. Leicester do this to create a solid platform for their possession play and defend against the transition. Like Manchester City, key to their build-up is their goalkeeper, Kasper Schmeichel, who is deceptively good on the ball when it's at his feet. He's calm under pressure and can pick out teammates if they have to go long. Impressively against Huddersfield, Schmeichel broke the Terriers' press with a composed pass into James Maddison. Maddison then got his head up and broke the lines again before Demarai Gray scuffed his shot. Against Arsenal, Schmeichel kicked long and should have had an assist, but Vardy hit the bar before turning in the rebound. Showing his range of distribution, there's almost Edison-esque. But when building up from the back, there's an emphasis on moving their opponents around before breaking the lines with diagonal passes. Again, like Guardiola teams, short line-breaking diagonals allow players to receive the ball on the half-turn. This is not only for the player to receive the ball quicker and allow him to get his head up, but also it increases the tempo and encourages the pass and move style play as the tempo increases. Once Leicester get into final third, they look to create through a number of different methods. Under Rodgers, their default method of chance creation is looking through crosses. They look to to create triangles between the fullback, central midfielder and winger down the side they're attacking and look to get one of those in behind the defence to cut the ball back. But if they can't get behind, they look to recycle possession before either giving the ball to an overlapping fullback so they can whip in a cross or hit the byline and cross low. Sometimes the Foxes look to catch their opponent's defences out with an early cross from the inside right, often through Youri Tillsman. This is summed up by their goal against Bournemouth. Patient play down the right, Pereira goes to drive past his opponent, passes back to Tillsman, who puts in a first-time ball and Vardy heads home. If going wide isn't an option, Leicester look to play centrally and thread balls through for Jamie Vardy. And if there's no space in behind, they'll look to get a shot away from range. And Rodgers just isn't taking Leicester back to their title-winning side from open play. They're also a threat from set pieces again showed by the variety of improvised set pieces against Arsenal. They clearly had worked on that in the training ground and were unlucky not to score a free kick. Out of possession, Leicester City look to win the ball back through counter-pressing. They press in a man-orientated manner. If they can't win the ball back, they quickly drop off into a shape that looks like a 4-3-2-1 and look to press from central midfield. Instead of tearing off after the ball like he used to do under Roger, Jamie Vardy now cuts off passing lanes and instructs the supporting central midfielders to press in a lane-orientated manner. The aim of Leicester City's off-the-ball press is to force their opponents backwards or to box them into the touchline before returning to their aggressive man-orientated press. This again is similar to Pep Guardiola's sides. Most famously, Guardiola's Barcelona would aggressively press for 7 seconds when they'd lost the ball to regain possession or to stop their opponents playing out. If their opponents manage to evade the pass and they drop into a defensive shape, look to cut off the passing lanes whilst they force their opponents to play high-risk passes. For all the similarities, there are some key differences that Rodgers has put in place. For his expansive play, Rodgers is still a pragmatic manager to some degree and knows when to change his style. Against superior opponents, Rodgers has pushed James Maddison to the left wing and brought in another ball winner in Hamza Chowdhury. They also look to go direct to Vardy in the channels, returning to the Leicester City of old. But whether this is a direct result of Rodgers or Vardy remains to be seen. And finally, Rodgers is adventurous with his bench, always looking to take advantage of his opposition. After Arsenal had Maitland-Niles sent off, Leicester went in at half-time 0-0, but Rodgers changed it. He brought off Ndidi and pushed Chowdhury into defensive midfield. Maddison then tucked into central midfield as he brought on Harvey Barnes, a real positive change in the second half. Leicester created 5 big chances, 3 more than they managed in the first half, and went on to win the game 3-0. Leicester City and Brendan Rodgers an exciting proposition, and the ongoing project over at the King Power Stadium is really interesting. They've built a squad that mixes youth and experienced internationals, and with Rodgers at the helm, you'd expect them to continually moving forward where Leicester City fans expect their team to be. But anyway, guys, what do you think? Are you impressed how quickly Brendan Rodgers has turned Leicester City around, and were you expecting this? And finally, do you think Rodgers will be a success at Leicester City? Let me know in the comments below. I've been Statman Dave, of course. Subscribe if you're new, like that goddamn video. See you later. Thanks for watching, guys. If you haven't heard already, we've partnered with Squawka, and we'd really appreciate it if you could come over and support us by clicking their channel. And if you like what you're seeing, why not drop them a subscribe? Alternatively, if you've enjoyed this content, why not check out one of my recent videos?